rebuilding. The catastrophic failure, a new start, physically, mentally, our careers, our businesses. Step back, first step, next step. The driver in me just wants to get it done tomorrow. We'll do this, do that, let's move this, where are we at with this? You build some confidence, build some self-esteem, start to feel better about yourself. The Silverback Blueprint Podcast, a show for men over 40. We focus on getting stronger, staying motivated, building discipline, creating a community, and becoming truly happy. Hey guys, welcome to episode 60 of the Silverback Blueprint Podcast, the business of business. Really cool week this week where I had a chance to hang out with other business guys, other business entrepreneurs and stuff. And let me start out by having a little bit of a definition as to me is what I consider a business owner, an entrepreneur, self-employed. They're all respectable things, and I'm not here to piss or shit on any one of them and stuff. But for me, my favorite part of being a business owner and an entrepreneur is the creation of a business, the creation of a service, the creation of jobs, the creation of a product, the creation of employees, that type of business, that level of business overall is something that I find very motivating. I'm passionate about. It's the wheelhouse I consider myself as a business owner is where I'm at. That's different from an investor. That's different from being self-employed, like I said. And no one is better than the other, but they're different. And this week ended up being a week where I had a chance to really hang out with exactly that type of business owner. Earlier in the week, we hung out with Steve Cody from Ruckify, and you guys will remember we had Steve Cody on one of our early interviews. What episode was that, Luke? Do you remember, Steve? It was like in the 20-somethings and stuff like that, where we talked about just, again, Steve, ups and downs, serial entrepreneur, his new company that he's working on, Ruckify. Ruckify is pretty cool. It's basically a shared rental service. So, if Luke doesn't need his surfboard this weekend and I want to rent one, we can get connected through Ruckify and I can rent Luke's surfboard for the weekend rather than having to try and find one at a store that doesn't carry one or whatever. So it's kind of it's a really cool service overall where, hey, if I got a Bobcat tractor that I'm not using, I can rent it out for 3 weekends out of the month and then use it the fourth. So a really cool service of connecting people together. And just, the cool part about Steve is just the ideas he comes up with and the things he does, problem solving. There's a problem. There's something I can fix with it. How can we fix that? So we sat down, we had lunch, and we just talked about, things we can do. So one of the things we do at Hostile/Fitness Warehouse is we actually rent treadmills. So we're going to be listing that service on with Ruckify. So people looking to rent a treadmill will find this through them. And, it's just like an agency, if you will. So really sharp, but just great conversation talking about the building of a company and the next stage and the next phase and stuff that just gets me really, really excited because whenever we do that, we learn and we share and it's a chance to sit down with another entrepreneur so that when we're talking, the other guy is like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. And, it's a chance to really open up and talk about things that a lot of times you can't talk with someone else. Like I know when Luke is, at these podcasting conventions and stuff like that, they get to talk about the podcasting world and podcasting issues and things like that. That's not the same as if he's talking to someone else who doesn't quite get it. You know what I mean? So I think there's a lot of relevance there. There's a lot of rapport, but you also learn a lot. So it's very motivating. And then later on that week, I sat down with Hayden and Tony from Industry Fitness. They've got a gym out in Perth, and these guys are father-son team. And we were just talking about how Hostile Gear can work with them and carry our products. So we're working on something cool with that. But it was really cool. They took a small gym in a small town and they've built it up phenomenally. And now they have plans to do the same thing in other small towns. And it was just really, really cool to talk with another couple of guys that are passionate about the fitness business and passionate about building a business and running gyms and stuff. And obviously, if you guys know anything about me, that's something that's near and dear to my heart. With Hostile and the Hangar, we have our own training facilities. So, it was great. We get a chance to just swap war stories and talk about things and, oh, yeah, I hate when that happens, and, oh, I get you, and how, or come up with ideas. Have you tried this? Or let me show you and a chance to share openly and not worry about, the guy opening up next door to you. It's not that kind of thing. So it's kind of refreshing to do that, which is really sharp. And I find that just motivates me. So it's like, we'll go back to Luke again. I know Luke collects stamps. So what's the fancy term for stamp collector? There's a name for it. I don't know what it is. But you know what? When he's sitting there with the room full of the other guys collecting stamps, and they find that upside down backwards airplane that's worth like $1 billion and stuff like that, you get really excited about that, right? That kind of thing. So it's part of that. It's part of that club that you're into and stuff. I'm picking on Luke a lot today, so it's pretty cool. It's like my Ed McMahon, that kind of thing. But every time he goes to say something, I have a buzzer and I shock him, so it's pretty cool. And then, and again, in the same week, it's been a busy week. Thursday, yesterday, we drove back up to Montreal to see Claude Gru at Monster Gym, and he's an interview that's about to drop, I think. So we're this is episode 60. This will come out. What roughly when's this going to come out, Luke? 60. That's very exact. He made that up. But somewhere near the end of January, between the 24th and the 26th, when this episode 60 comes out, I've already have aired our episode where we went and first met Claude Gru, Mr. Olympia, personal trainer guy out of Montreal, phenomenal guy. 50 some years old, still killing it, still is great. But won that Olympia in his 40s. He's got a method of training that he's added called occlusion training, where you strap bands around your shoulder or around your hips to trap blood. And when you're doing your exercises, more blood gets trapped in there, which increases blood flow and fascia stretching, and, just helps stimulate growth. And it was really cool because we had talked about it last time. This time when we went up, I went in, and because I'm getting ready for a bench meet, we did a therapeutic session on my shoulders where we strapped it up around my shoulders to trap blood around there. And I did more like rehab. I didn't even use weights. I just did side lateral and front lateral movements, 20 seconds on with 5 seconds rest, 8 rounds, just to get blood and pump and trap in there. And it was cool because this thing would tighten up around me, like when you get your blood pressure done with the blood pressure cup, and we get tighter. And then every session, he has a machine for it. That's where he's a little bit different. Rather than just, tying off your limbs, like a tourniquet, he's got these straps, but he's got a meter that judges how much pressure is there. And then every set, we increase the pressure, right? So that every 20 seconds it got a little tighter, trapping more blood. And he's able to make sure the left side is equal to the right side with the meter. So really sharp, some good science behind it. It's called KATSU, K-A-T, maybe an extra A in there, S and U. We'll get the right spelling at the bottom of this. But that's the methodology behind it. So it was really cool because as I'm getting now closer to my next bench meet, which is in a couple weeks from now, my shoulders are tired and tight. Not injured, but just achy. And he said, we'll do this, and in a couple of days, you're going to notice it. Well, last night, my shoulders felt a lot different. Today, they feel really good. And tomorrow, I'm heavy benching again. So it'll be really cool to see that recovery that I got from that when I compete, when I lift heavy tomorrow, getting ready for competition. But then we had Steph, one of my buddies from the gym. We had him set up, and he actually did a bicep workout, shoulder bicep workout with it, where we did with weights, again, 15 pounds, not a lot of weights, but lots of sets, lots of reps, sets of 30, and it was crazy. We got a little bit of video. We're going to put that up on our YouTube channel, where he was aching, but every set you could see the veins coming out in his arm, his traps were full. It was really sharp, and 10 minutes later he was done. He was wiped. It was like he had moved 100 pounds, 5,000 reps. It was really, really sharp to do. And then we got Brian on there, who's got a pec tear that he's coming back from. So we got him strapped up around the shoulders, got him on the ground, and got him doing, some pressing movements to trap blood. And so you kind of isolate the area by doing the movement to get the blood flow into that area, but with the restriction of the occlusion. And it was really cool to see just the pump in there and the blood flow. And when we increase blood flow and we get blood trapped in there, a lot of physiological things happen, not the least of which is hormone production, release and stuff, because your body thinks it's under a tremendous workload, so it does all that stimulation, but it does it without all the stress on the nervous system that you would normally do. So we're going to get into that a little bit more. I was really captivated by it, and I can see us going further into it. But then we also talked about the business end of that. How does that work, and how do you charge for sessions for that, and how do you incorporate that into it? And that was, the three of us just jumped in the car and went down to Montreal with an hour and a half, 45-minute drive one way. It's just awesome. So what a great week for me, just to get into that business of business and just talking to other business people. And, and I like to share, I like to help, and I like to be heard. Who doesn't, right? Who doesn't like to be truly heard about what they talk about? And, it was great to be around three groups of guys getting their stuff going, working their stuff, and just being able to hang out and talk business. And I find that very motivating. I get a lot of energy from it. It motivates me to want to do even more with my business and stuff. And, again, goes to that whole, hanging out with your fellow stamp collectors, that kind of thing. My brother-in-law Doug, he's huge into pinball machines. He fixes them, he repairs them. He loves doing it. So they have a thing out there in Toronto called the Church of the Silver Ball. And they have their place that they have events, and you can come do parties, and they call it services where you can go on a Friday night and just pay one fee and play all these pinball machines. And you know what? It's really cool. He's been repairing these things for a long time and involved in that business of the video machines. But now that he's got this place and he's doing it, he's really passionate about it. When we go there, we talk pinballs, and he's got some that, they repaired from the 50s, and it's just really cool. So that's part of, finding that passion, that purpose of what you're doing, and then hanging out with, like and similar people. So it's the whole reason why conventions work and stuff, and, workshops and stuff, where we just get together and get to share and learn and be a part of something that we really like doing and we're passionate about. So I highly recommend that for you guys out there. So, Luke, we're going to see a big run on stamp collecting, right? They're going to be searching, Luke and stamp collecting on Facebook and stuff like that. I'm only kidding, guys. Wouldn't it be cool though, Luke, if you really were like a closet stamp collector and stuff, and you're like, holy fuck, how did he find out and stuff like that? So look on Kijiji, guys. There might be a collection for sale. Except I won't sell my upside down backwards airplane. Where did I see that? It was like a comedy episode, but there truly is one, I think, that was printed backwards or whatever, and is worth like $1 billion. So some guy who was drunk one day on the press in the 1800s printed it backwards, and now someone's worth millions of dollars because of it and stuff like that. So yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about, guys, is just just find stuff you're passionate about and hang out with people that are equally passionate about it. And it's just exciting and it's wonderful and stuff like that. So that's all I got to say about that, guys. Head on over to iTunes, leave us a review, a 5-star review. I'll take, I had 1 4, but then I called them back and I got them to make it into a 5. Well, actually I was at their house and I was looking in through the window with a sign saying, change that to a 5. And then I gave them the code Silverback to save 20% off on a shirt at hostilegear.com. So you guys go ahead and do that as well too. And keep on keeping on, guys. I'll talk to you guys later.